Wait till I get my money right.
I have a Patek, two Pateks.
Nice. I've never heard of that timepiece before. Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting some of the timepieces and the collectors that stood out to me in some of my recent videos. I'm also going to give you guys some behind the scenes of the interactions between myself and some of these collectors in the series that you guys all know, What's on Your Wrist, where I go around asking random people what timepieces they're wearing on their wrist, along with some other watch-related questions. And we also ask them questions just to help us get to know them a little bit. Now, before I get into the video, guys, remember to give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and let's just get straight into it. So for the first timepieces, it's going to be with Anna and Andres and their son. They were wearing the Hublot Big Bang and the Rolex Datejust 36. Beautiful timepieces. So a little behind the scenes story of this interaction is initially I saw Anna. I saw her first by herself. I approached her. Of course, the Rolex Datejust stood out to me in that two-tone green dial. I was like, hey, I love your watch. It's beautiful. I'd love to ask you a few questions about this timepiece on camera. And once I mentioned, I think on camera, she was like, let me go get my husband because he has a nice timepiece as well. He loves watches and we could have an interview together. As soon as I heard this, I was like, uh-oh, oh no, she's trying to get the excuse to run off. Because I've had people said this before where they're like, oh, I got to go take care of something and I'll catch you on the way back. And then usually it's like, I got to keep it moving, guys. Like, I'm not just going to sit around and wait for you guys to come back. And I think they already have that in their mind too. So they're just, trying to get a runaround to not do an interview. So I was like, okay, I'll be around. And in that, I just had my mind set, continue going, find somebody else. And then the person I was with, we were just joking around. I'm like, yeah, she's not coming back. That was just, a way just to get around it. But surprisingly, she came back with her husband and her son. And they were actually waiting for me to finish with an interaction that I had going on. So I was like, wow. And I ran over. I'm like, hey, introduced myself. We talked for a little bit. And then we got the interview going. Now, I had to highlight them because she actually came back, for one. And then for two, they had some beautiful timepieces. The Hublot Big Bang in that Unico, I think, it's a square-shaped Big Bang. It's a beautiful piece. People like to talk down on Hublot, but for me, I think most timepieces, especially on this scale and this price point, it's beautiful craftsmanship, great timepieces, and you can't really hate too bad on it. You can't hate so heavily on a timepiece. And then with her wearing the Rolex Datejust 36, I think it's always a great piece for ladies to have in their collection. And it's a modern piece, but still, even though I'm a vintage lover, it's a modern piece. It's still beautiful. So I highlighted them because he's wearing what he loves. And that's what he mentions also in the interview. Even though people talk down on Hublot, he's buying timepieces that he loves. And that's one important thing for a watch collector or watch enthusiast, is to buy what you love. Don't always let the narratives that you hear on YouTube or people out there saying steer you away from getting the timepiece that you actually like. You don't always have to chase the hype and the popular timepieces. And Hublot is popular, especially in other countries. Maybe in the US, not so much, but in Europe and all these other places, Hublot is very popular. So I had this interview with them and the interaction was great. It seemed like a beautiful couple, humble. It seems like they're enjoying timepieces together. The Hublot that he was wearing, she has the hers version. So they seem to be on the journey of buying his and hers. And the reason behind buying this timepiece was to signify their love for each other, which is cute. And the next timepiece that they're going to purchase is AP Royal Oaks, which they're going to go with his and hers as well, matching watches. Their passion seems to run deep. And for sure, him wearing a Hublot was one of the reasons why I had to really get him on camera. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this Hublot Big Bang. Now for number two is Stefan with the Rolex Day-Date President with the green dial. Beautiful watch, stunning watch. But guys, I have to say one thing that stood out to me with him is the frequency in which he purchases his watches. It's almost like a little red flag. To me, I believe if you buy watches high frequency, which he said he purchased 3 watches within a month, it just removes the romanticism in the process of buying a watch. The frequency was a little bit too high, especially too because it was all hype watches. It was the Patek 5711 and a Rolex Submariner Hulk, and the one that he was wearing, the Rolex Day-Date. Within a month, it just says you're buying just to buy, or you just landed some cash and you're just buying watches. Now, I tried to come up with some reasons why a person would want to buy watches like this in high frequency, especially these particular watches. And for me, I would do it maybe just to, transfer cash into assets, just to store some funds. But besides that, it just doesn't make sense, especially for like a watch enthusiast that actually like really love watches, understanding that it takes time to, see a watch that you like, do your homework, do your research, and go through the process of actually getting something that you like for the right price. Now, for me, I don't think the Hulk that he purchased was a good price, especially where the market is today. But it is a Rolex Submariner, solid piece, discontinued. So you can't go wrong with a Rolex Hulk, especially if you're thinking about the price and the cost it may be in a few years. It may go up. It might not go down all the way to where you'll be losing a lot of money. But anyways, guys, there's one piece of advice I could give, especially after my interaction with him, is to say that you need to take your time and enjoy the journey of collecting watches. It's not a race. It's not a rush. Don't just buy everything you see that's shiny, everything that you see that's hyped. Don't do that. It's not gonna increase your happiness and your love for the watch. I believe you need to take your time. It's almost like an example I was trying to come up with for this is like having like the three watches is like having three side chicks. You don't make them feel special. Instead, have one watch, do your research, date the watch, um, marry the watch eventually, which is buying it. And that makes it a little bit more intimate, a little bit more special. And like I mentioned in the beginning, it makes it more romantic. You guys might think that's a little bit crazy because we're referring to watches, but if you think about it, you'll get it. But yeah, buying three in 1 month is not that intimate and special. But yeah, guys, comment down below and let me know what you guys think about that point. Now for number 3 would be my Venezuelan realtor with the IWC Mark 18. Great piece. I was so excited, guys, to see an IWC out there in the streets of Miami. It's not a piece that you see often. And you guys know in my videos, I mentioned IWC a lot. I've owned 3 vintage IWC watches. So I love IWC. They make some beautiful dress watches and pilot's watches. But yeah, great guy. I love his style. The timepiece went very well with his whole outfit, the suit that he was wearing with the blue leather strap. He was wearing a blue navy suit. So it matched his style very well. So once I spotted that on his wrist, it was a little bit covered. So I saw half of the watch. But if you know watches like me, you can spot them from a distance and you know exactly what it is. Like I said, guys, it was nice to see an IWC in a pool of Rolex watches, especially in Miami. So I enjoyed this interview for a few reasons, but one being the things and the reasons that inspired him to buy the watches that he buys. And he's inspired through movies. I purchased a lot of Rolex Datejust two-tones because of the movie American Psycho. Yes, guys, that's one of my favorite movies, American Psycho, where he was wearing that Rolex Datejust 36 two-tone with the champagne dial. Beautiful piece, and that's one of the reasons why I purchased that watch. Another movie that inspires me to go after another watch that I haven't bought yet, but I really do want is Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. He's wearing the all gold, solid 18 karat gold Cartier Santos. That's a timepiece that I've always wanted, but guys, that price is today maybe 15 to 20,000 for that timepiece.
Damn.
So I'm not gonna get that anytime soon, but it's inspired from a movie. But anyways, the timepiece that he was wearing, the Mark 18, was inspired from the movie Vanilla Sky, where Tom Cruise was wearing, I believe, a Mark 10. So purchasing a watch because you saw it on a movie or you saw it on an actor that you admire or look up to, I think it's cool. There needs to be some other reasons why you buy the watch, but if it's because you saw it in a movie, that's one good reason to actually look into a watch. He also has another watch in his collection that was inspired from a movie, which is his Omega Seamaster, of course, from the James Bond movies. Of a lot of people have purchased this Omega Seamaster because they saw it in the James Bond movie, and he's one of them. So great timepieces. He says he has a solid collection at home, so he doesn't have anything on his radar to pick up. But yeah, decent pieces, wide variety, not just Rolex, Rolex, Rolex. He has the IWC, he has the Omega, and of course he has Rolexes, but I just like the variety, so I had to highlight him in this episode. Next on my list is Valentina from Brazil, and she was wearing the beautiful ladies OP, blue dial, great size on her wrist. And that's one of the reasons why I actually stopped her, and one of the reasons why I'm highlighting her in this video. The fact that she's wearing a elegant small watch for her wrist. And it's one of the things that I recommend for most women. You guys always know it's on repeat that I say that women, ladies should wear smaller watches to match their wrist size. I believe it's way more elegant and just good to look at. Another thing about our interaction that I loved was the story that she had to go along with the watch. She said that this watch was purchased from her dad and gifted to her mom. It was the first gift that he purchased for her. And then the mom gave this watch to her. Now, she said that she received the watch not in the best condition, so she had to take it in for service, and she took it to the Rolex service center, which some people may say was a bad choice to take it to the service center, especially a vintage watch. But I don't think she had a horrible experience. It seemed like she's happy with the outcome. She said that the dial that the watch has currently wasn't in the watch, and she was able to choose this blue dial, which I think she made a good choice going with the blue dial. So having this beautiful blue dial, the story to go along with it, being gifted to her from her mom, her dad being the person that first purchased it and gifting it to the mom, and she's actually wearing it, I think is special. I've met a lot of people who were gifted, older vintage Rolexes and other brands, and they don't wear it because they're like, oh, it's an old watch, not understanding that vintage watches are beautiful, amazing, and should be worn. So the fact that she's young, wearing a vintage watch that was gifted to her, and she didn't just throw it in a drawer, stood out to me, and I had to highlight her in this episode. And lastly, I have to say, guys, in some of my interviews, I'm a little bit extra, to be entertaining. I may ask questions in a certain way. I may answer and respond in a certain way just to be a little bit more dramatic. And also, in the way that I edit, I make things seem a little bit more dramatic. One of the reasons why I'm a creator, guys, and I make these videos is not so much to be popular, famous, and make money, but it's because I enjoy the creator side of things. I enjoy the editing process. That's one of the reasons why I love making these videos, is the editing. So to edit videos and make it appear a certain way is some of my skill set that I'm trying to work on. And in this video, I made it seem a little bit dramatic. Like I said something that may have been offensive. I threw in a little clip, and I'll show you guys right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm currently just living life, just hanging out.
Sounds like Miami life, yeah.
Right, I guess, yeah.
Ooh, well, I didn't mean to offend you, and I hope you'll forgive me.
Well, I'll still ask you this last question. What's one piece of advice you give people out there? It could be financial, general, relationship, just one piece.
I think just live your life and don't worry about what other people think,
Pretty much what you're doing.
Yeah.
The line has been crossed. Crossed.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
So yeah, so clearly, guys, you guys see how I made things a little bit interesting, a little bit dramatic, and it's just pure entertainment. She's great, she's happy, she loved the video, and yeah, I just love what I do. So hopefully you guys enjoy it too, and you guys enjoy the editing that I do for these videos. Now for the last person, it would be Lance from New Orleans, and he was wearing the Rolex Day-Date 40 with the president bracelet. Some people call this watch the president, the presidential. but it's really called the Rolex Day Date, and the bracelet is called the President bracelet. He's wearing a classic piece, classic watch, guys. The classic size for this watch is 36, really, but the 40 is okay. It even has the 41, which I believe is a little bit too big. But he's wearing the 40 in yellow gold. Beautiful watch, elegant. And the reason why I'm highlighting him today in this video is because of the reason why he purchased it. You know, he didn't just see it on videos or pictures and was like, okay, I gotta buy this. He had like a reasoning behind it. He's in the real estate business, and I believe he said he saw his attorney wearing this watch. So I guess at that early stage, seeing an attorney wearing a watch, he probably looked at this person as someone that's successful and kind of linked that watch to success. And he said that when he saw this watch, he said, okay, this is a goal that I need to set to achieve. And he worked hard for it. He worked to get this watch. It wasn't that he saw this watch on this attorney's wrist and he just went out and buy it. It's no, he saw the watch and then he had to put in some work to get the watch, to attain the watch, which I thought was great. And he's wearing this watch now as a symbol of his success. So every time he looks at it, he remembers, oh man, I was sitting in this attorney's office trying to close a deal, and look at me now, I'm wearing the same watch. Sometimes, guys, we look at these watches on people's wrists and think it's unattainable, but in reality, guys, if you put in the work, anything that you may think, oh wow, this is impossible, is possible. Trust me. You just put in the work, and then once you get it, you're just like looking at it like, okay, this is so easy now, this was easy, this is basic. It's not that crazy or outlandish to attain. So all you got to do, guys, is put in work and things will happen. Another thing that stood out to me with him is that he bought most of his watches, especially his Rolex watches, from the AD. His first watch, I believe, was a Rolex Submariner. He has a Rolex Datejust. He has this Rolex Day Date. So he has a Rolex collection for sure. And he's getting them all from the AD. So it's great for him. He's getting these watches at retail, so at the best price he could. And he's building a purchase history. So eventually he'll be able to get some of the Daytonas and the harder pieces. Actually, I should have asked if he has any Daytonas. But if he doesn't, then he's on his way to get, some of the Daytonas that are so hard to get. The next timepiece he said that he wants to purchase, though, is a Patek. I don't think he knows which one yet, but I think he says it's a gold Patek, just a gold Patek. So that could be any model, honestly. So he's going from Rolex to Patek, and I think that's great. Setting certain goals for himself and working hard to achieve them. I asked him for a piece of advice at the end, and he mentioned, which I think for you guys, it should inspire you guys to put in some work to get to where you're trying to get to. He said that he started off with a business partner in the real estate game. He was broke, driving around, struggling to pay gas, until he, was able to close some deals and achieve success. Success is measured in different ways for different people, but for him, he made it and considers himself successful. So good for him. Congrats. And yeah. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want you guys to share your opinions down below. Comment down below. Let me know which one of these timepieces is your favorite. Thanks for watching. Again, remember to give the video a thumbs up. I know some of you guys watch these videos on the TV. So to give the video a thumbs up, you may need to use the remote, but trust me guys, just hit the like button. It's going to make the video reach out to more people. Subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode.